following on from the idea of specialising in the Choy Li Fut, I'm just going to touch on the 10 different animal styles, just in brief what they're like and how they work. For later videos I'll also be looking in detail in each animal, talking about exactly what they're for. So we have the 5 main animals and then the larger group of 10 animals. So we have the snake, crane, leopard, tiger and dragon, and then we have the monkey, the elephant, we have the horse, we have the lion, which is the Chinese lion, as you see behind me, and the baby tiger, the tiger cub. So the first one, the snake, is really designed for someone who's got a lot of patience and has got a good ability in distance and timing. They don't move much, they wait for the opponent to enter into their space and they strike. Okay, the second one, crane. Crane is more for a smaller, weaker body type. Someone that if they were in a martial situation against someone who's powerful, they'd get easily damaged or broken. So for them, it's about keeping themselves at a long distance, moving in, moving out, and attacking the vital areas of the person. If you fight in a long distance, you want to disable your opponent's ability to fight in that long distance. This is how it works. Like I said, I'll touch on that in other videos. The leopard is about speed. It's very fast. Fast, and it doesn't block. It uses its strikes to intercept. So if you imagine, if you Bruce Lee, for instance, with much more of that kind of dynamic movement, the powerful but not a very large individual, fast, blocking with the strikes, attacking, like a boxer, very much in the middle distance and into long distance movements. Tiger. Tiger is a more powerful, explosive, more muscular person, someone that can take an impact. So, you know, whereas the crane wouldn't really want to risk being struck in a fight, it'd be over. The tiger can take a few blows, no problem, you know, just grin and deal with being struck. So they can go full in with lots of power and force. It's seen by many people as a kind of blunt method, but actually there's a lot of detail in it. It's still quite just as equal in terms of its skill level as the rest of them, really. And the dragon, number 5. Dragon's an unusual one. It uses a lot of joint locks. It uses its claws, but it can be, out of all of them, I think it's the one that works on the transitions between ranges. So you could be very good at close range, like grappling. You could be very good at, well, let's say grappling's extreme close on the floor. You could be very good at that, or you could be very good at middle distance, sort of holding, moving, sweeping, throwing, that kind of distance. No, that's close distance. And then middle distance would be a striking like that of a boxer. You could be good at that. Or long distance would be kicks and jumps. And extreme long distance we don't really touch on much with the animals because it more involves weapons and throwing things. But the ability to manipulate the transition, to go from one to the other, that's the nature of the dragon. So it's the dragon can alter its size. You can become small or large. Just as you can catch the person off guard by transitioning to a different fighting range. So being able to work the range, and if the range were like blocks, like bricks, the ability to work the transitions, the mortar in between them, that's the dragon. Okay, the next ones, the next 5. Let's go start off with the monkey. So the monkey is very useful as a defense and to be used as grappling. Okay, so it's very much a grappling style. but its techniques are also defensive, and it breaks the rules to win. I'll go into detail in the. I don't want to spoil anything about the techniques, but I'll talk to you about that in detail in the later videos. But it also works very well against multiple opponents and against weapons. So the monkey is quite nice all-rounder, but requires agility and cheekiness, and just actually being able to do what most people consider to be to cheat to win, but actually it's just winning. Okay, so monkey, and we've got the elephant. The elephant is obviously for a larger, stronger person, but generally a taller person, and it's a fighting style to suit that tall, strong person against either an individual who's smaller but much more skillful, or a group of smaller individuals. And it's got some lovely movements in it, and I'll explain how they all work, obviously in later videos. So the elephant, so monkey, elephant. The horse is an odd one. It's like if you compare it to another art, so let's say you trained your kicks so they were powerful and strong, like someone in a classic, very classic taekwondo, not necessarily like the Olympic style, but the classic taekwondo, powerful kicks, and you were young enough to use them, and you were skillful, and you could place them well. It's the ability to get yourself from a situation into a position where you can use those kicks. See, you know, it's great to do a spinning jumping kick. It looks great in the movies. You see it all the time. But really, to put yourself into a position where you can actually pull one off and then have the skill to do it, well, that would be like the horse. Just like it would be, you imagine someone's trying to ride the horse for the first time. The horse has never been rode. Okay, no one's jumped on it. Someone's jumped on its back. It's going to kick you off. It's then going to try and kick you. So it's a technique where you can go through transitions of range to get yourself into that long range to then attack with a very powerful strike that you've trained. Obviously, it's not something you can come to as an older person, but if you train it through youth, then you could use it when you're older. You know, someone like Wang Jiangli, he'd be a great example of that. You know, training some fantastic spinning kicks and have the kind of experience to move yourself into that position to do it. Okay, the lion, the Chinese lion, is another one of the two spiritual creatures. So we've got the dragon, we've got the lion. If you to take it on its face value, it's probably most similar to judo, or you know, lots of stand-up throws, sweeping the person down to the floor, but also going down with them. So it involves a lot of the hooking of the leg and the rotation movement to bring the person over to the floor, and then going on top and attacking. It's got some unusual hand shapes and odd ways of gripping. We'll discuss them later. And then I think then all we're left is the tiger cub. The young tiger is a bit of a defensive one as well. It doesn't go into the fight, but when the fight comes to it, it tries to dominate on the floor by destroying the opponent's ability to grapple. So it's quite a useful style to have as a grappler, I think, particularly for smaller individuals. As an addition, there's also what were the lost. So all these 10 animals, they were all documented. They're in manuscripts, and they were laid down, and they're very well known in the martial arts world. But we have 5 insect, or I guess the term would be invertebrate or arthropod, or whatever you want to call it. I don't want people like saying, oh, spiders and scorpions aren't insects. Okay, so there's the 5 insect form, which was once in a manuscript format, but was burned by the wife of Chan Yu Chi during the Cultural Revolution no, it was burnt by him, in fact. He tried to burn all the manuscripts during the Cultural Revolution, and worrying about people taking them, finding them, and discovering his family's knowledge. But luckily his wife saved a lot of the forms on script, but this is one of the lost ones. So through conversations, through working with people and finding out and piece together the knowledge and how it is, we just don't have the actual form. We know the movements, but we haven't put together an actual form. Maybe someone will bring one together. But the 5 insects are the spider, the scorpion, the praying mantis, the centipede, and the beetle. And they work on a kind of close distance to extreme close. So the spider is very much like your kind of standard jiu-jitsu, but it would be working from being in the mount position. Okay. The centipede works from the guard into a transition into the mount. If you were to look at a different martial arts system, you'd say it's very much like Eddie Bravo's rubber guard style, with the legs hooking over and moving the person that way. The mantis is designed to take the person down to the floor, a bit like moving push hands would do, hooking into the person and taking them down to the floor, then to change, when you're on the floor, into the spider. The scorpion is when you're in quite a bad situation, you're on the floor, but there's someone standing above you, kicking or striking. That's when you use the scorpion technique to try and kick them away and push them away. And the beetle is the most offensive. It's where you find yourself stuck on the floor, the person's on top of you, you literally, your stomach's on the ground, and you're tucking in and you're fighting, trying to get some control to heave them over. But maybe I'll do a video on these ones as well, with some application perhaps. So within the animals, these are the animals for the Choy Li Fut Kung Fu. We have the 5 main animals, 10 animals, and the 5 insect. 5 insect was an individual form. It wasn't 5 individual forms. It was 1 individual form. But the 10 animals, you have an individual form for each of the animals. And then we also have a 5 animal form and a 10 animal form. So we've got snake, crane, leopard, tiger, dragon, monkey, elephant, horse, Chinese lion, and the tiger cub. And on the insects, we have the spider, the scorpion, the centipede, the praying mantis, and the beetle. So it's quite a broad thing. As well, we have other things like the drunken form and lots of different wooden men to fight against. So when we look at a student who comes in, you have a rough idea where they'd be, but I would recommend that people, before they would even consider going beyond the 5 animals, has learnt one of the 5 well, and then find out where they're weak within that, and then search out the next information within the 10. Alright, so look out for the next videos. I will be talking in detail about each individual animal and the insects.